You knew the first time she did it. Something in your gut tightened, something in your chest said, wait, but you didn't wait. You thought about how she looked at you when things were good. You remember that one weekend that felt like a movie. You told yourself she's just going through something right now. And just like that, you talked yourself out of what your instincts were trying to talk you into. That's not love, brother. That's called making excuses. If you've been in a relationship where you've said any of this to yourself, she didn't mean it like that. She's been hurt before. That's why she acts that way. Things will get better once the stress dies down. I don't want to make it a big deal. Then this video is not just for you. This video is you. My name is King Great. I'm a relationship coach and marriage counselor, and I've sat across from hundreds of men, good men, strong men, successful men who stayed in situations they should have left, not because they were fools, but because nobody ever told them what they were actually looking at. Today, I'm going to tell you we're going through 7 relationship red flags that men consistently minimize, explain away, and quietly suffer through. And I'm going to show you the exact excuse you are using for each one. Not to shame you, not to make you bitter, but because a man who can see clearly chooses wisely, and you deserve to choose wisely. Stay with me. Before we get into the red flags, I need to address something first. Because if I just give you a list, you might watch the whole thing, nod your head, and still go home and make another excuse. I've seen it happen. So we need to talk about why this happens to men in the first place. Here's what most people get wrong. When a man makes excuses for a woman's bad behavior, they call him weak. They call him desperate. They say he has no self-respect. But that's not what I see when I sit with this man. What I see is a man who was taught to endure. From the time you were a boy, you were told, be strong, don't complain, figure it out. Real men don't walk away. So, when something in your relationship starts to hurt, you don't talk about it, you absorb it. You treat her red flags the same way you treat a pulled muscle. Push through it, it will heal, keep moving. But here's the problem with that. A pulled muscle heals. A toxic pattern doesn't heal on its own, it grows. Every time you excuse it, you're not being patient, you're giving it permission. And then there's the second reason men stay blind: investment. The longer you've been with someone, the harder it is to see them clearly. Because now you're not just evaluating her, you're evaluating everything you've put in: the years, the money, the emotional energy, the version of the future you built in your head. You're not staying because things are good. You're staying because living feels like admitting that you wasted your time. But here's the truth: staying in the wrong place doesn't recover lost time, it costs you more of it. And there's one more thing: most men were never taught what healthy love actually looks like. If you grew up watching your father tolerate disrespect, or your mother excuse a man's dysfunction, or if nobody in your house modeled what a thriving relationship was, then you have no internal baseline. You genuinely don't know if what you're experiencing is normal or if it's destroying you slowly. That's not a character flaw. That's a gap in your education. And that gap is exactly what I'm here to close. So when we go through these 7 red flags, I don't want you to listen as someone looking for reasons to leave. I want you to listen as a man looking for the truth. Because here's what I know. After years of doing this work, a man who finally sees the pattern clearly doesn't panic. He gets still, he gets honest, and then he gets intentional. That's the man I'm speaking to right now. Let's get into it. Number 1, she uses your vulnerabilities against you. There was a moment, probably early on, when you opened up, you told her about the thing you're insecure about, the failure you haven't gotten over, the fear you don't tell most people. She held it well in that moment. It felt safe. But then, one day, during an argument, it came back out, aimed directly at you, not as a concern, as a weapon. The intimacy of a relationship gives you access to a person's soft spots. What someone does with that access tells you everything about their character. Anger is not a license to weaponize what was given to you in trust. When she goes there, she's not fighting with you, she's fighting against you. And a man who starts hiding parts of himself inside his own relationship is already living alone. Number two, she can't genuinely celebrate your wins. You got the promotion, you close the deal, you finally finish what you've been building. You come home with good news and something shifts. She doesn't kill the moment dramatically. It's more subtle than that. She gets quiet, she changes the subject, she acknowledges it briefly, and then makes the conversation about something she needs, something you haven't done, or something that undermines the win entirely. A woman who is secure celebrates the man she loves without feeling threatened by his momentum. What you're seeing is not stress, it's competition. And when the person closest to you cannot be your safe place to win, you will start shrinking your victories to manage your discomfort. Over time, you stop sharing. Over time, you stop striving. You cannot build a great life next to someone who is quietly unsettled by your greatness. Number three, she is two different people. Around others, she's warm, charming, easy. People love her. Your friends say she's amazing. Her co-workers adore her. But with you, behind the closed door, there's a different version, cold, critical, distant, or volatile, in a way that none of those outside people would ever believe. And when you try to bring it up, she either denies it completely or you start to wonder if you're the one bringing out the worst in her. Yes, there's a version of privacy in relationships where home is where you excel, where you can be unguarded. That's healthy. But there's another version where home is where the mask comes off, and what's underneath is something you were never supposed to see until it was too late. When a woman is consistently warmer to strangers than she is to you, you are not her safe place, you are her secret. And you deserve to be with someone who treats you at least as well in private as she performs in public. Number four, she has no healthy female friendships. She doesn't really have close female friends, or the ones she had are gone, and every single story ends the same way. She was fake. She was jealous of me. She betrayed me. Women are just too much drama. Every former friend becomes a villain. Every fallout was the other person's fault. And now the only meaningful relationship in her life is with you. How a woman relates to other women is one of the most revealing things about her. Female friendships require vulnerability, accountability, and the ability to navigate conflict without burning everything down. When every single one has ended the same way, with her as the only innocent party, the common denominator is not bad luck. And if you are her entire emotional world, that is not romance. That is pressure, the kind that will eventually crush you because one person was never designed to carry that weight alone. Number five, she uses threats as a relationship tool. When conflict gets hard, she reaches for the exit card. Maybe we shouldn't be together. I could leave, you know, keep it up and see what happens. Or maybe it's not about leaving, maybe it's about exposure. She hints at what she could tell people, what she knows about you, what she could do. And just like that, the argument is no longer about the issue. It's about damage control. A threat inside a relationship is not an emotion, it is a strategy. When someone learns that threatening to leave makes you fold, they will use it every time they need leverage. And a man who is constantly managing the fear of loss instead of building toward love is not in a partnership, he is in negotiations. Healthy conflict doesn't require one person to feel afraid of what the other might do next. Number six, she monitors you and calls it love. She needs to know where you are, always, not in the way that comes from connection, in the way that comes from suspicion. She checks your location compulsively. She asks questions that sound like conversation, but are actually interrogation. She goes through your phone when she thinks you're asleep. If you don't respond quickly, there's an incident. If you're somewhere she didn't expect, there's an interrogation. And when you raise it, I just love you. I worry about you. If you had nothing to hide, you wouldn't mind. Reassurance is something you give. Surveillance is something you endure. And here's what most men miss. You cannot build trust through compliance. Every time you hand over your location, open your phone on demand, or justify a normal absence, you are not proving your faithfulness. You are confirming her right to control you. Trust is built through consistency over time, not through access on demand. A secure woman monitors the health of the relationship. An insecure woman monitors you. Number 7, she's always the victim. Nothing in her life has ever been her fault. Her last relationship failed because of him. Her career hasn't taken off because of her boss. Her family is broken because of what was done to her. There is always an explanation, and she is never the cause. And now that you are in her life, you're slowly being added to the list. Your boundaries become her pain. Your needs become your selfishness. Your honest feedback becomes your cruelty. Every time you try to hold anything accountable, the conversation ends with her as the wounded one and you as the one who caused it. Compassion for someone's past is not the same as accepting a permanent excuse for their present. Everyone carries wounds. Not everyone uses their wounds as a shield against growth. When a woman has constructed an identity entirely around what has been done to her, she has no room to take ownership of what she does to others. And you, trying to be gentle, trying not to be another hurt, will spend years making yourself smaller and smaller to avoid becoming the villain in a story she was always going to write. You are not her therapist. You are not her rescuer. You are her partner. And a partnership requires two people who are both willing to be responsible for the energy they bring. I want to be very careful about how I close this because this conversation could go one of two directions right now. A man who is hurting could walk away from this video bitter, closed, convinced that women are the problem and he is the victim. That would be the worst thing I could leave you with. That is not what this was. This was never about her. Not really. This was about you. It was about the man who has been so focused on understanding her behavior, excusing her behavior, managing her behavior, that he forgot to ask the most important question of all. What do I actually want? What do I actually deserve? What kind of relationship am I willing to accept for the rest of my life? Those questions are not selfish. Those questions are the beginning of every healthy relationship that has ever existed. So here's what I want to leave you with. Not a verdict on your relationship, not an instruction to leave, not a checklist to weaponize, just 3 charges. The first charge, get honest with yourself, not with her yet, with yourself first. Sit with what you watched today, sit with what landed, sit with what you excused when you saw it in your own story. Don't run to fix it immediately. Don't rush to a conversation you are not yet clear enough to have. Just get still, get honest. A man who cannot be honest with himself cannot be honest in his relationship. And a man who finally gets honest with himself, even when it's uncomfortable, is already doing something most people never do. The second charge, decide what you are willing to work on and what you are no longer willing to absorb. There's a difference between problems and patterns. Problems can be worked on. Two willing people, honest communication, maybe some outside help. Problems can be solved. But patterns are different. Patterns are what happens when a problem has been excused long enough to become a lifestyle. If what you identify today is a problem, there is real hope. Have the conversation, seek counsel, do the work together. But if what you identify today is a pattern, a long, consistent, repeated pattern that has survived every conversation, every ultimatum, every chance, then you need to stop asking, how do I fix this? And start asking, am I willing to carry this for the rest of my life? That is not a cruel question. That is the most loving question you can ask yourself, and ultimately, the most honest thing you can offer the relationship. The third charge, become the kind of man who doesn't need to be told twice. Here's what I've learned after years in this work. The men who heal the fastest, whether they stay or whether they go, are not the ones who got the most advice. They are the ones who decided to stop abandoning themselves. They drew a line, not in anger, not in ultimatum, but quietly, firmly, inside, they decided that their peace mattered, that their purpose mattered, that the man God made them to be was worth protecting. And when a man decides that, really decides it, everything shifts. His conversations change, his standards change, his posture changes, and the people around him, the right ones, rise to meet him. That's the man I want you to be. Not a man who watched a YouTube video and went home looking for a fight. A man who watched a YouTube video and went home looking in the mirror. Because here's the final truth I want to leave you with. The goal was never to find a woman who never has flaws. That woman does not exist. You are not without yours. The goal is to find a woman whose character, values, and willingness to grow are worthy of the life you are building. And the only way to find her, or to call that out in the woman you already have, is to first become a man who knows his worth clearly enough to require it. Know your worth, hold your standard, and refuse quietly, firmly, completely to negotiate your peace. If something in this video made you see your relationship or yourself differently, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Tell me which red flag landed hardest. Tell me what you're going to do with it. Because this channel exists for people who are ready to be honest, and I read every single comment. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now. Every week, I'm bringing you content designed to make you a better person, a better partner, and a more intentional builder of everything that matters. And if you know a man who needs to hear this today, a brother, a friend, a son, send it to him. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do for the men we love is hand them a mirror and say, I thought you should see this. I'll see you in the next one.